Hello everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today we are talking about Nepal, a nation that has just witnessed a seismic shift in its political landscape. It's a story so dramatic that if you had told me about it a year ago, I would have said it belongs in a movie, not in a real life. But here we are. Just a few weeks ago, the street of Nepal erupted. It wasn't a protest led by the usual political parties. This was something different. This was led by a generation that grew up with the internet and the social media, a generation we called Gen Z. The protest forced the resignation of Prime Minister KP Sharma Oli and led to the complete dissolution of parliament. The one name that rose to the top, chosen by the Gen Z movement itself, was Sushila Karke. She wasn't a career politician, she was the nation's first ever female Chief Justice, a woman known for her uncompromising stance against corruption. And now she has become the first female Prime Minister of Nepal. It's a historic moment, but it also raises a huge questions: what's next? Prime Minister Karke has already made a bold move. She has announced that the election will be held in March 2026. Her main goal is to deliver on the promises of the youth who put her in power, and the biggest of those promises is a call for a directly elected executive. This is where the real challenge begins. Nepal's current constitution doesn't even have a provision for a directly elected leaders. Our system is designed for a multi-party democracy where parties form alliances to create coalition governments. As we have seen over the past decade, this has led to a cycle of unstable government and a huge parliament where no single party ever gets a clear majority. The big fear is that if you go to election under the same old rules, we'll just end up with the same old results and the same old faces. So how can they make the changes the youth are demanding? This is where it gets complicated. To amend the constitutions and change the election system, you need a two-thirds majority in parliament, but the parliament was just dissolved. And let's not forget about the very people who started this revolution, the youth. The protests were full of students and the young people. But under our constitutions, you have to be at least 18 years old to vote and 25 to run for a seat in parliament. This means that many of the passionate young people who brought about this change will not even get a chance in the upcoming elections. It's a frustrating paradox. The constitution labels them as minors, but when they are out on the street fighting for their future, their passion is powerful enough to topple a government. So can Prime Minister Karke and her interim government find a way forward? Can they push through the necessary changes to the election laws? Can they ensure that this revolution leads to the lasting transformation and not just another cycle of political instability? That's the big question that the Nepal is facing right now. The future of the country hangs in the balance, and it's a story we'll be watching closely. So thanks for joining me, and I'll be back with the more updates soon. Thank you.